you mentioned the US casualties. There have been reports of a school having been hit in southern Iran, killing
Yeah.
153 people, a girls' school hit. These are the only the early exchanges. We just don't know where this might develop, and we remember the awful civilian toll and military toll in Iraq, for example, in 2003, which you've referenced, and in Afghanistan as well. And we can't forget that in all of this, there already have been innocent people killed. This is not something being some kind of geopolitical game of chess without consequences for real people.
Yeah. Because Adrian, I worked in Iran, and I taught
Mm,
there,
mm,
it's been a long time. I mean, after 2009, they said if I come back, the regime said, you come back, we'll got a nice room in Evin prison for you. So, oh, cheers, no thanks. I'm still in contact with folks, including right now. They're scared. Uh, a lot of them would like to see the back of the regime, but they know that they're on the sharp end here. If they're in Tehran, it's not like the military facilities are out there in one section of the city and you're out there on the other section. And that's true of other Iranian cities as well. Cities like Isfahan, for example, that girls' school that you talked about, and the death toll's now up to 165. There was a Revolutionary Guards barracks that was in the area. And so I suspect that they were trying to hit the Revolutionary Guards barracks and they hit the girls' school, which, by the way, doesn't excuse the attack. Oh, well, they were aiming at the military. In fact, it just highlights the point you just made. Civilians are going to get killed. And I'm going to give you a fundamental here. I've already talked to you about a little bit of where I think the U.S., where the Trump camp are going, where Netanyahu's going. Despite the sentiment they make for Iranians to rise up, their priority are not the Iranian people, right? Benjamin Netanyahu don't give a damn about the Iranian people per se. He's been willing to kill a hell of a lot of them. Donald Trump don't give a damn about the Iranian people, right? His ego does not encompass those people who have been fighting for social rights, who've been fighting for actual free and fair elections, who've been fighting for political rights. That's not what we're talking about here, and we need to be honest about it. So no, I think if you hear me getting a little bit speaking more as a person rather than an analyst, it's just because I don't have skin in the game, but I got friends who do, and I also am conscious of the fact. Let's say that the regime collapsed just like that. Let's say that opportunity came. I would hope that the political prisoners would be freed, including Mir Hossein Mousavi, who probably won the 2009 presidential election and has been under house arrest for 15 years, including Mr. Tajideh, the former interior minister, in prison since 2009. Narges Mohammadi, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, the activist, absolutely, someone who has fought for human rights all her life. I want to see them free. I'd love to see them to be in the place of to rebuild Iran. But do I think that necessarily happens? And Iran is next door to Iraq. It just put it out there. So there are all kinds of scenarios that are in play here. It could be a transition. It could be the Revolutionary Guards, the military, in an unprecedented move, try to extend their power, because the whole point of the Islamic Republic was the military should serve the politicians. Or it could just simply be a complete breakdown where you get different communities that start scrapping with each other.
Indeed. Well, you've got a border with Pakistan, haven't you? Balochistan, and there are separatists in that region. There are Kurdish separatists who might seek to take advantage of any disorder, of any breakdown in society. And you've referenced, Scott, the lack of boots on the ground from the United States. Does that perhaps reflect a lack of seriousness on their behalf about
It's just a fact of American political culture. Iraq 2003 poisons the well. Because,
but it does mean, again, doesn't it, that the likelihood of regime change, therefore, is much less. It's much less possible, isn't it? Because you're assuming that the people who've already may have seen their friends and neighbors being slaughtered by the Revolutionary Guard in previous protests, you're expecting those people to then rise up and overthrow the government. Now, that may happen. We don't know. And the point is that we don't know. But those people will only have air support. at best from the United States and from Israel, but they won't have anything else. They won't have weaponry, which is what the Revolutionary Guard will have. So that sets up quite a terrifying potential consequence as well.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you a story. I'm not sure it's very well known. I mean, we kind of know that, that thousands, the tens of thousands that were killed during the protests last month, or sorry, I should say in January, most of them died over 2 nights, January 8th, January 9th. Now, why is it the regime cracked down at that point? Well, it's because on the morning of January 8th, Reza Pahlavi, the son of the late Shah, made this, high profile message. Iranians, take to the streets. Everybody, every city, you go out and take to the streets. And at that point, what the Iranian regime is looking at is like, okay, Reza Pahlavi is backed by the United States. He's backed by Israel. They're using him to make this call to get rid of us. They're using these protesters to make the call. So they sanctioned military grade force at that point. Indeed, the supreme leader himself personally sanctioned military grade force. And over the course of the next 2 nights, they absolutely leveled folks. I mean, hundreds of bodies coming into hospital emergencies rooms and coming into morgues, just swamping them. By January 12th, the protests are pretty much gone. Now, why was that? Was it because, protesters decided they'd had enough? Is it because they decided, look, we've done what we can? No, it was because Reza Pahlavi made that call that prompted the regime to force its hand. Now, the supreme leader's been killed. Others have been killed, but you still got the regime folks in place. You make a call for those protesters to go on the streets. What do you think Iran's military forces are going to do? And I just will come back to this, that just before those events of January 8th, January 9th, Donald Trump said, Iranians, take over your cities. Rise up, rise up. And when they protested, was there any assistance? Hell no. Now here we go. And if you say, take over your cities, Netanyahu's saying, take over your cities. Donald Trump, his whole political base, as incoherent as it was no foreign interventions. Obama did that. Biden did that. I don't do that. Indeed, in 2013, he said Barack Obama should never intervene in Iran. Never. Well, you expect Trump to be able to send troops in and that's a bridge too far. That's a bridge too far for his supporters. So realistically, the Iranian people are on their own.
One final question for you, Scott. There is a sense abroad that in this conflict, the United States is doing Israel's bidding. Now, you can view it through an Israeli lens and see Iran as a country with its current leadership as one that presents an existential threat to you. Maybe not an imminent threat, but ultimately as an existential threat. The United States can't see Iran credibly through that lens. So what is the United States' geopolitical interest in seeing this change in Iran?
Oh, the Trump camp? Dominance. It's just dominance. What was their interest in getting rid of Maduro in Venezuela? Okay, oil is there. Yeah, I take that point. But what was it? It was to exercise U.S. dominance, to say we can make this regime, obey our wishes. And don't take my word for it. Look at the national security strategy last December. Dominance in the Western Hemisphere. Why do they want to seize Greenland? Okay, I know raw materials. I know, the maritime lanes coming out of the Arctic, but it was also dominance. We can make Europe do what we want. What is their point of trying to break up the European Union and deal with countries bilaterally? A Trump camp position of dominance. So what is it with Iran? Hi, I'm Scott Lucas. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe, spread the word, send ideas.